Good day all. It's 1:18 p.m. on the 22nd of the 12th, 2024, or so they tell us. I'm going to try my best in this upload to differentiate to you the difference between the spirit and the soul. So bear with me. I'm Bazzzilll, Broadcasting Truth and Therapy, BBTT. Here I am using the talking stick on this my channel, the Self-Preservation Society, on Bitchute. And if you're not watching it there, there's a link to it underneath in the description box, along with other relevant, as I see it, information for your delectation. And I'm dedicating this upload to somebody I hold in great esteem and respect. A lady called, excuse me a minute, a lady called Jill. She runs a church over in Herne Bay in Kent. Jill Goldfinch is her name. And there is nobody with more integrity I've found in spiritualism, more care, more love, more compassion, more empathy than Jill Goldfinch. She's on Facebook and whatever. She's a beautiful, beautiful soul. And she cares so much. She speaks often of the pain that she feels for the loss of people that have gone on before. And I hope, Jill, that if you listen to this, this will help alleviate your pain and your suffering. As indeed I hope it will help so many other people. Because I'm going to try to explain to you here the difference between the spirit and the soul. If you get up now and go and look in a mirror, whoever you are, you will see what others see. How you are physically is not only what you see, it's how others see you. And when you pass from here, it's exactly the same. You look as you looked here in this physical third dimensional reality. You might look younger because when you pass over, that opportunity is there for you to look younger or to appear younger because you have taken the opportunity to regress to a period that reflects a time in the incarnation you've just left when you was at your happiest. If I see my mother, who passed on the 8th of December 2023, I don't see her as she was at the end. I see her as she was in the 60s, maybe early 70s. And that indicates a time that she was happiest. To me it does anyway. But that's only if I see her in the spirit. If I see her or feel her as she truly was and not the spirit of the physical incarnation, as she truly is and was and will forever be, that soul energy, I don't recognise that in a physical way. I recognise it by the energy, frequency and vibration that I was so accustomed to during the incarnation that we shared from my being born of her in 1961 to her passing in December 2023. You know, when I looked at my mother, I wasn't always recognising my mother in the physical form when she was here. I was recognising her energy, frequency and vibration, which is the true self. That's the soul. The physical representation of that for any incarnation is how most people recognise their loved ones, either when they're here or when they're in spirit. And I'll tell you a story that happened to me, I don't know, about 8-9 years ago. Maybe a bit longer. 2 different women, completely unknown to each other, to the best of my awareness and knowledge, come to me seeking my counsel in 2 different weeks. One come one week, one come the following week. In actual fact, one of them wasn't really here seeking my counsel, just popped up for a cup of coffee, this, that and the other. But what happened with both of them is I sat for them, just shut my curtains, broad daylight, and sat for them. And the interesting thing was, both of these women were aware of their stepfather, who and with both of them, he'd not long passed. So both of them see their stepfather transfigure me. I remember one of them got up from where she was sitting, come over and grabbed me, but she was grabbing him because she recognised his physical appearance. And the other lady, she done the same. She never grabbed me. She come up close, you know, just to have a closer look, this, that and the other. But in both cases, it was their stepfathers. And they recognised them by their physical appearance. When you go, when you get yourself into a situation, you know, that I've done many times over 40 years, going into spiritual churches, people only recognise the communicator by either their physical appearance, that the medium may well express, vocalise to them, or by characteristics that are indicative of that particular incarnation. Very, very rare do you ever hear that somebody has recognised others, and it's the same here in the physical life, by their energy, frequency and vibration. No doubt in my mind, more and more people are paying attention to that, but not enough, in my honest opinion. But nevertheless, I will continue. But, you know, we recognise them when they are familiar to us. They, the incarnation. What we should really be paying heed to and attention to is, like I've just expressed, you know, I don't need to see my mother as she was, either as that nearly 86-year-old lady when she passed, or as anybody I remember from throughout my 64 years come January. But I recognise my mother by her energy, frequency and vibration, her soul. And we do ourselves and our loved ones a disservice when we don't recognise their soul energy, whether it be here in the physical or when they've passed. we keep the person, the spirit, close to us, and we pay little or no heed to what they truly were, the light being, the energy, frequency and vibration that we often take for granted from another, because we do not perceive that we have the eyes to see, the ears to hear it, or the heart to feel it truly. So, no, no matter what your loved ones may have looked like, I ask you to forget all that and remember the feeling, resonate with the feeling that you shared, that you felt from them, they might have felt from you. It has little or no correlation with their physical incarnation or their spiritual appearance. It's just an experience for the soul. And if you're locked in that, then you are in fear, in darkness, ignorant of who and what they truly were, and indeed yourself. You will remember me telling a story if you've been listening to me long enough. I told the story first like this, where I was walking through Westwood at Limminge Forest, and I was taken to my knees by the one and only time I've ever seen a light being in my life. It was up ahead of me at the top of an incline as I was walking through this walkway in Westwood, Limminge Forest. And as I'm looking up the path, it was obviously standing, appeared above me further up the path, and it took me to my knees because I was so overpowered by the energy, frequency and vibration of this light being. And it took me a year or two, well, maybe a bit longer than that. It was a bit longer than that, to fully comprehend and understand what I was seeing was my purest essence. It wasn't something outside of me, as it were. It was my soul, my light body, that which is the Lucifer within I was seeing. That was to happen again today. I wouldn't fall to my knees because now I comprehend, understand, and whatever. And if your parents, your loved ones, or whatever, come back to you as they truly were, this soul being, this light being, you would no doubt fall to your knees because you wouldn't be able to stand in their power because you don't know who you are. That's why I couldn't stand in the power of when I see that light being, because I didn't know who I was. It's been part of my journey. We are not the physical appearance or the spiritual experience of that physical incarnation. That's just to keep us locked at best into the spiritual aspect of self. And it works brilliantly because then it keeps us in the reincarnation cycle, because we deny or are in fear of or blinded by our own light, that which we truly are. Any incarnation is just an experience for the soul. Any incarnation. At best, an experience for the soul. There's many on this earth now that are soulless beings. They're just spirit beings, often referred to as NPCs, non-playing characters, this, that and the other. Your parents, your loved ones, I'm sure, especially yours, Jill, because I know you in the way that I do, had a soul. Focus on that, my friend. Not on what they look like. Don't focus and keep remembering them as that. You don't need, we don't need to express our grief and our sense of loss, this, that and the other, over an experience, a physical experience. We don't need to express our grief and loss over the spirit of that physical experience. If you expressed it, if we express it over the energy, frequency and vibration that they truly were on a soul level, then we would grieve no more, because we would then know we have not lost them. I've been questioning myself so much since my mother's passing, because I haven't grieved as much as I would have thought I might have done, or as much as how others may have expected I would have done. And I understand why. I understand why, because I don't grieve for my mother, the woman, the person. I don't grieve for my mother, the spirit of that woman, that person. And I no need to grieve for her, the true self, on a soul level, at all. Because nothing is lost. Once love has been felt and created, you can't lose it. You cannot lose it. All you can do, is what I've been doing over this last year or so, is coming to a greater awareness of that love, that care that was so indicative of my mother. And it all come not from her, the person, or from her, the spirit. It come from her, the soul, that which she truly was. Light and codes, light and knowledge, light and awareness. She, the Lucifer within. The spirit is corrupted from the true self. The body mimics the spirit, or the spirit mimics the body. And it keeps us in darkness. It really does, people. Keeps us in darkness. If they truly do live in your heart, then you won't grieve for them. You won't grieve for them. You won't keep calling them back. You won't need to, because you will be aware that they, your soul family, your soul connection, your soul mates, have never left you. You have removed yourself from them when they pass physically. We remove ourselves from them because we're all too focused on not having them there to hold, and we're all too focused on trying to bring them back and wanting to see them as they were, as they appeared to us. And we're locked in that prison because we're blinded by their light and our own light. We're in fear and ignorance of anything other than that. And so I ask the question, do we ever truly know them? I'm not religious. I've told you that so many times before. Religion comes from the Latin religare, which means to tie, to bond, or to thwart, stop forward progress. Nevertheless, in the Bible, I can only bring to mind one time where Jesus was in awe of another physical being. And that was John the Baptist. And the reason wasn't because he recognised this fella standing there baptising people. Didn't recognise that physical form. And it was requited, understood by John the Baptist, they recognised each other's energy, frequency and vibration, having been together on a soul level in different incarnations. They never recognised each other physically or spiritually. They recognised each other's light, their energy, frequency and vibration. And Jesus is accredited with saying, as I do, you can do also, and far greater things. We perpetuate the system that enslaves us and controls us, this, that and the other. We perpetuate the reincarnation cycle and everything that it speaks of. Because we don't know who we are, and we don't know who those are that we love and connect with on a soul level. We might know it on a physical level. We might experience it on a physical level. Physical love, lust, desire, or, resonance, or respect of elders, parents, children, this, that, and the other. We might recognise it and seek it on a spiritual level. But if we don't go beyond that to truly know who they are and feel their energy, frequency and vibration in the way John the Baptist and Jesus did with each other, we'll forever be caught up in cycles, infinite cycles, instead of being in the eternal now. So in the case of you, Jill, if you're still listening, your parents, stop remembering them from the pictures, this, that and the other. Remember them from their energy, their frequency and vibration. Because that is what you speak of every time you honour them. And I'm asking you to think about that. Stop remembering the physical aspects of their life and think of the energy, frequency and vibration that they were during that physical incarnation. And you will grieve for them no more once you connect back with them on that soul level, transcending the spiritual aspect of your parents as they were in this physical form. And it's the same for everybody, people. It's the same for everybody. It is brilliant. I speak in humble awe of the awarenesses that come to me that I share with you here. Many of you might already be aware of what I'm saying. And if you are, then speak to others to empower, enlighten and enable them as I do when these things come to me, these awarenesses come to me and I share them. But you are not the person. You are not the spirit of that person. That's just an experience for the soul. That which is source consciousness on a soul journey. Having this spiritual experience in this carbon-based unit body avatar in this third dimensional reality on planet Earth, on the Earth plane, whatever you want to call it. The difference between the soul and the spirit is so important that we all understand. And whatever that soul is defined by their energy, frequency and vibration, by their words, deeds and actions. Anything a soul does whilst here is either ego, how others perceive that being. And often that soul that comes back here through the forced reincarnation cycle is in darkness. You got to find your own light. Nobody can find your light for you. You've got to find it yourself. Others can provide tools to enable, empower and enlighten you on that journey, but they can't do it for you. You've got to find it yourself. And if we are constricted, attached to another's incarnation, even when they've left us, we are enslaved by the spirit of the self and their spirit, because we do not know them and we do not know ourselves. That which we truly are, the I am. It's interesting, my friends, when this stuff comes to me, why it comes to me in the way that it does, and I'm inspired to speak about it. You know, I just put a post up on Facebook and I've had some really interesting comments and whatever from people, and you know, I let them get on with it. Let them get on. Now and again I might try to say something that will help them, but I put spirituality and anything pertaining to the spirit is for the enslaved who do not know the conscious self. And it's true. It's true. And, you know, if you want to argue with me, argue with me. But that's just your ego and your ignorance. And yes, you could throw it back and say, well, it's mine. I don't want nothing from you. I've just shared knowledge to empower, enlighten and enable you. And you, as a few have done, have mocked it, derided it, this, that and the other. And all you've done is prove to me that you do not know the difference between the spiritual, the physical self, the spiritual aspect of that physical incarnation, and what you truly are on a soul level, source consciousness. That's all you've proved to me. And so, you know, when you hear this, often said people are awakening, it's a slow old process. It's not happening that quick with that many. Otherwise, a difference would be made. A difference would be made. And that which we experience in this physical reality would no doubt change if more people were awakening, because we would take up arms and whatever else was needed, conscious awareness, to fight the battles that many of us don't even know we're in. You know, most people are probably just riding along with that Frank Sinatra song as their theme tune. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. No, that's living, people. That's doing what you're told, being compliant, being ignorant, being in fear. That's not life. Take the F out of life, and all you've got left is the lie. See that today? That really struck me. That's brilliant. Life itself is a lie, and we're too busy living it to pay any attention to it. Back and forth, from the physical to the non-physical, back to the physical. That's all the true self ever does. Compliant, in fear, in ignorance, to its own individual and our collective power against that which forces us and oppresses us and controls us. It's a brilliant system. It's a brilliant system. By all means, love the person. By all means, be lustful with the person. But do it with a conscious awareness of that which you truly are. Be in control of your feelings. You be in control of your awareness, and do not allow others to control it or dictate the narrative, which is why this world continues to experience millennia after millennia all that it experiences, because we're too busy when we come here in the bread and circuses of life to pay any attention to the self. Robbie Williams sung that song, "Let Me Entertain You," and that's what Satan does. That's what the devil does. Send you back here and provides the entertainment for you, so he can feast upon your energy, frequency and vibration that you are so much on a soul level that you're so much in fear of. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It is an amazing, amazing system that is, as that meme just gone said, is so ugly. It's a system that's ugly. Not the earth, not the third dimension. It's a system that dictates it and controls it that is ugly. But, you know, I would go so far to say it's not as ugly as our compliance, our fear and our ignorance. That's what's really ugly. And I don't say that to deride anyone, belittle them or whatever. I say it to empower, enlighten and enable them. Look, we existed before birth and we will exist after death, because our real nature is the soul. It's not the body, it's not the spirit, the soul. The soul's energy is love. And it is not lost on me, Jill Goldfinch, how much love and respect you had for your parents. But I say to you, wasn't the people that you love and respected, that was your mother and father, wasn't the spirit of those people. It was the soul of those people. And it makes perfect sense to me, because you are such a beautiful soul. And it makes perfect sense to me that your parents were beautiful souls as well. I never knew them. I never knew them, but I know you did. And you honour them, their incarnation, and you paid due diligence and respect to them, and love to them. But I ask you to understand what you truly loved about your parents. And it was their soul's essence, not their spirit, not their physical appearance or presence. It was their soul's essence. And if we can all wake up to that, peoples, if we can all wake up to that, the essence of the soul, the energy, frequency and vibration of the soul, we can discern so much easier what this picture intimates in front of you. If this message has resonated with you, then share the message. Don't share me. But this physical love that you feel for another, this spiritual connection you feel for another, is born out of the energy, frequency and vibration that they share with you and you resonate with. And it's nothing to do with the physical form or the spirit of that physical form. It's to do with the energy, frequency and vibration of the soul, the light being. I hope this makes sense to all of you, and if it does, please share it. Don't share me. Share the message. Don't share me. Have a look on my main Bitchute channel. If you're not watching from there, link in the description box below. And look at some of my other work. Well over 600 there now, according to Daryl and whatever. And Daryl and a few others like him, Shelley and whatever, have started from the very first one and worked their way forward up to the present time. Because that way they get some indication of my soul's journey and how my awareness has changed only in these last 4 years or so. I've been doing this Bitchute channel. And if I can change and be open to new awarenesses and knowledge, then so can you. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, it's the message that's important, not the speaker. Palamia, thank you. In Lakesh, in you I see an enemy. Midakwe Yasin, we are all related, we are all relatives. And I tell you, we're all connected.